Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empowered to Live. I'm your host, Andrea Rose Butler. Welcome. Shout out to those of you that would catch us on the replay. We are here for another Thursday evening of Empowered Living. And so I started a series last week calling How Bad Do You Want It? And so we're going to continue that series today about finding your why. Finding your why. And so as you are coming in, I want you to just think about that. What's your why? Why do you want to do what it is that you're doing? And why you're doing what you're doing right now? And is what you're doing what you want to do? So those are some questions for tonight. Are you doing what you want to do? And if not, why? And if you want to find out your why, stay tuned and let's dig deep into finding your why. Like, what's your why? And I found this quote. I was doing my research today. Was from a Forbes magazine article, and the author quoted Frederick Nietzsche, who said, "He who has a why can endure anyhow." And this is knowing your why is an important first step in figuring out how to achieve the goals that excite you and create a life you enjoy living versus merely surviving. And so we want to make sure that we're moving from just in that survival mode. I'm working because I know I have to, because I've got bills to pay. Been there, still there, somewhat, and so we do things a lot of times because it makes sense, but we're unhappy in it, and we're just like, you know what, I'm just here. We show up to work, we're not fulfilled. um, we find ourselves in relationships that are unhealthy because we don't know our purpose, we don't know our why, and so we find ourselves stuck in these places, and then we don't know how to get unstuck. And so one of the things that helps is knowing your purpose. What's your why? Like, why are you here? And that's the questions that is asked a lot. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What was I created to do? And we're not just accidents. We're not some cosmic explosion. We're none of those things. We all have a purpose. We all have a reason for our being, whether it's to touch one life or to touch millions. We all have a reason for being. And so we want to discover our why. And so we want to move from just surviving to thriving. And so the only way to know your why, you'll have to find the courage to take the risks needed to get ahead, stay motivated when the chips are down, and move your life onto an entirely new, more challenging, and more rewarding trajectory. And so when you know your why, and I share that in I open, it's like when life gets tough, you need to know why, and this will give you the the onus to keep going, to keep pushing you forward, because you would have known your why, and you're like, okay, this is just a bump in the road. Like, for many of you know that my family and I, myself, my girls, and my mom, we packed up lock, stock, barrel, quit jobs, did all the things, and moved across the world. We left the United States of America and moved to Mexico. And, on the journey, parts of it was easy. The planning, getting stuff together was easy. We all knew why we were coming. We knew why we wanted to do what we wanted to do, and then nothing worked out. For the most part, we ran into so many different roadblocks to having in a car accident. I was on an 18-wheeler, had a relationship on the road here, and then we got sidetracked, and we got stopped for like 3 days, and we got here, and just a lot of stuff happened. But we knew our why, and so it kept us going, and kept us motivated and kept us moving, because we talked about in our planning, and everybody had to dig deep to say, why do you want to move? Why do you want to go on this journey? Why do you want to leave this country that you've been in, that has been your home? Like, we, myself and my mom, we're from Jamaica, so we're not native to the US, but I've been in the US most of my life. And so for me, picking up and moving and, quitting my job, and I'm like, okay, God, what are we going to do here? Why is this desire? Why is this such a strong pull that, we talked about it, and it was an idea, it was a dream of things that we wanted to do, and finding our purpose in why we were here, and then to be here, and then instantly be connected to people and organizations and things coming together in a way that we could not have seen or predicted would happen. That God put all these things in place. So even with the car accident and all the other stuff, no major damage to the vehicle itself, and no one was injured. Traumatized, yes. Injured, no. But the people that we met on the journey of coming, um, could not have been anything but God. How He put things together, and like I said, even coming here, we had some things in place, but then other things, like our furniture just got delivered yesterday, so my room is a wreck. Actually, the whole house, we got boxes and stuff everywhere. But the delays with that and all the different things, and we sit down, we talk about this stuff, and it's like we were okay. Like if it didn't come, would waste a lot of money, but we knew why we were coming. We knew why we were here. And so it made sense that in spite of all the things that went wrong, there were so many things that went right. And there were so many things that we could see God's hand moving in us coming here. And the peace that we've had, being here, in spite of and despite all the things that happen, to see God's peace in the middle of all of that, all of these things that, should have kept us up at night and kept us worried and kept, I would say for myself, kept me worried and anxious. I didn't feel that because I knew my wife are coming, and so when we dig deep and we have to find out, and I think about even when I did Noom, if you're familiar with that weight loss, it's a psychology of weight loss. And back in 2019, I think it was, that I first found out about them on New Year's Day of 2019. I was thinking, I was so frustrated with my weight and just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be this way. And it was so funny because I was frustrated on New Year's Eve and just getting ready to go out to church. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. And the next day wake up and have this advertisement come in, talking about Noom. And I was like, where in the world? And I was like, okay, God, I said, everybody says Google is listening, and Google knew that I needed this. And so one of the things that He asks you is about your why. Why do you want to lose weight? And then so you have to fill out this thing. And it was like, okay, so I want to lose weight because, and then it says, okay, so, and then why that? And then why that? And then why that? And it keeps asking, and it wants you to dig deep into yourself to find out why is it that you want to do what you want to do. And so I'm asking the same question. And I said, people say, oh, why? I want to make money. And that's their goal. They want to make money. So what happens when you make it? Because that's your only reason for making it. When you get to the end, is it going to be enough? Because is that really the deep-seated reason why you want to make money? Like, what's at the core of your why that you want to have money? Is it feeling a need that you had? Maybe you lack funds, and so you were struggling, and so your desire now is, I never want to be in that place again, so I want to make money. But if you don't change the mindset and the thought behind the why you did this, then you still won't be happy even when you make millions, because we know there are millionaires and billionaires that are not happy with their lives. They have the money, they have the cars, they can do whatever they want to. They're not in debt, but they're alcoholics, they're drug addicts, they just unhappy people. And then you have the people who have nothing and are some of the happiest people in the world because they're content. They know their reason, they're content with who they are and what their purpose is, you know. And so when you look deep within yourself, you have to go, okay, so they ask, so why do you want to lose weight? Well, I want to lose weight because I want to be healthy. Okay, so why do you want to be healthy? And because I want this, and so if you once you get this, so and why that, and then why that, and they call that your big picture. So once you get that big picture, you have that vision. I talked about that SMART goals last week, setting your goals for 2025. And we talked about that, 90% of people never complete their goals. And it's because they're not connected to their why. There's not a deep seated reason why they want to do it. They think it's a good idea, and a good ideas are great. But if it's not connected to purpose, if it's not connected to your life journey of where you want to be, and it's not filling, only God can fill the hole, but He's created that hole with purpose for us to be able to do something with our lives and to make impact. And so if you're not impacting your life, if you're not impacting the life of someone else, and you're not making a difference, and then you feel good about, and you feel that void being filled, and you are content with where you are and what you have. I was listening today, and I see how God He puts stuff together. This lady, I guess her name is called Miss Rachel. Never heard of her, but I understand that she's got like 1 billion views on her channel, followers or whatever. And she was talking about her son, and she wanted to find a way to communicate, find communication tools and lessons to help her son, who had, I guess he's autistic. Not really fully know her whole story, and I need to look her up. But she wanted to find a way, and she was looking for things, resources of how to help her son, and she couldn't find anything. And so she said to herself and to her husband, maybe we need to find, someone that can do this, that does this. And she's like, who has this and who has all this stuff? And she's like, wait, that's me. I have those things. I'm a teacher. I have these connections. I can do these things. And so she went ahead and she created it, and it took off. And it just like, she was like, well, maybe somebody will, we'll get to, like 100,000 views or whatever. And maybe we can sell it to a company that can take over. And then they became the company. And so then she became that resource and source for other people who are in the same position that she is in. Because now she found that why. She had that why. She was like, I need a way to help my son, which was, and she was like, and this is what we need. And out of that need, she created something that not only helped her child, but is helping millions of other children around the world by doing this. And then this became her life, and she finds the joy now in this. And she was able to use all the things that she had within herself, being a teacher. She had these different connections. She knew how to do the lessons. She knew how to write. She knew all these different things. And so her gifting and her talent and the resources that she had within herself, she was able to put those things together to create this thing that impacted the world. And that she's just blown away about how now she is this recognized name because she took a chance. She took a chance. She stepped out and she found her why. And so I'm challenging you today, dig deep, sit down, tonight. And I'll say do it tonight. I'm not going to say do it tomorrow, because tomorrow life's going to happen. So as you're watching this, I'm challenging you to get out, get your phone out, open up your note app or whatever, get pencil and paper, whatever, and write down what it is that you want to do. What is it that you see as your goal is? And then whatever it is, I don't know why. And then, okay, so if I choose this, then why do I want this? And then why do I want that? And why do I, until you get to the very core, the very root of what it is. And it's not an easy exercise, but it takes the time and diligence if you want to live the life where you're not just surviving, but you are thriving. Our church, I guess, what I want to say, our slogan for 2025 is alive to thrive. And so we are alive to thrive. We're not just here to survive. Jesus says, I've come that you may have life and have that life in abundance, have that life to the full. And a full life is not just surviving. It's not just getting up, going to work, coming home, and just going in that on that hamster wheel of this going around in circles every day, and where you feel like, what's the purpose? Why am I here? Why I might as well exit. And so when you sit down and you start to think about, why do I want to do? Why am I here? What's my purpose? I told y'all before, and I shared this, doing this has been on my heart to, I've been a motivator, an encourager, and it's something that I've always liked doing, getting people motivated and being able to share. But I'm not really good. I do okay with crowds now, but in the past, not so much. And being able to encourage and to motivate and to say, hey, you can do this. I told you last week, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. You want to be in that 10% that make it to 20 at the end of 2025, December 31st. And you're like, yes, I accomplished my dream. I did it. I'm back in school. I've done this. I've lost weight. I've gotten the job I wanted. I've this, whatever it is that you set out your mind to do. You write that book, you write that play, you write music, do whatever, learn to play the piano. I've been trying to learn how to play the piano, and Duolingo actually has a music app. Excuse me, do music lessons in Duolingo. So I'm on there. So not only am I learning Spanish, but I'm also learning music. I'm super excited about that as well. And so I've got my keyboard that I've had that was collecting dust, and I was learning to play, but I just didn't have time or the motivation. I didn't, it wasn't connected to me as much. But now I got a little bit more time. Like I said, our stuff is here now. Set my keyboard up, and I'm going to be on my Duolingo and doing music. And so I'm super excited about that as well. So whatever it is that you want to do, there is a resource for you to be able to do what you need to do. So I just want to encourage you again. We are here empowered to live. God has given us everything that we need to live this life and to live it godly. And so again, thank you all for joining me for another night, another episode of Empowered to Live. I will see you all next week. Catch you all in the replay, and I will see you all next week. We'll continue in our series of how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Do you really want it? And so we're going to do that. So remember the challenge. Sit down tonight. Write out your why. Why do you want to do what you want to do? And dig deep. Take that time, take that moment, instead of scrolling on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, TikTok, which is going away in a few weeks anyway. Take the time to find out why. What's your big why? And then let's tackle that together. And let's come out on the end of 2025 walking in our gifting, walking in our purpose, not just surviving, but thriving. I hope you join me again next week. Have a great night. Thank you. Bye-bye.